back. My name is Arna Sahu, host of Arna's News, where on this podcast channel, I aim to eliminate the gender gap in the STEM fields by featuring inspiring female professionals and highlighting their stories and accomplishments to further encourage girls. Today, on episode 26.
And then to answer your second part of the question, what was the life like before I implemented these and after? You will notice that if you don't follow these kind of principles, you will see a stagnant career versus you notice that you make progress in the career by applying some of these.
Today on episode 26, I'm pleased to announce our guest, Nitu Parimi. As a current head of solutions architecture, strategic accounts at Amazon Web Services with more than 20 years under her belt, she's someone who's quickly able to identify core issues, formulate plans to address them, and execute. With 5 AWS certifications and is a Google Cloud Platform certified professional, Nitu has stellar team spirit and time management skills. With the right mix of technical, business, and leadership skills, she's an asset to any organization she's a part of. Her skills include DevOps, analytics, networking, and security. So thank you so much, Nitu, for being here today. Before we dive into the questions, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Arna, for the warm introduction. I must first congratulate Gen Z girls who are way ahead of their curiosity to understand the current environment, workplace dynamics, and most importantly, their ability to navigate through to reach their goals. Yes, it's a STEM education that's exposing girls to IT environment early on. Happy to chat with you and answer any questions you have for me.
I'm happy to chat with you too. All right, so my first question for you is tell us a bit about your career path.
Sure. I did my undergrad in CS from India. I started at Cisco Bay Area in product team, worked there for a decade. That gave me a solid foundation both professionally and personally, gave me the opportunity to start a family. Followed by I signed up for management roles at Oracle, VMware, and now at AWS. Perhaps it's worth mentioning two most tested times during my career. I started at Oracle as a director in SFO starting 2010. Was wrapping up my last year of my master's at SCU Santa Clara same year, and I was having 18-month-old son at home. I got to sleep no more than 5 hours for more than a year during that time. I thought I won't put myself through this again. But 10 years down the lane, when I started at AWS in 2020, ended up with no weekends and 16-hour-a-day work schedule. I would say these two are exceptions and I advise anyone not to work at that rate. May 22 onwards, I ensured work-life balance is a lot better for me. On a positive side, these experiences make me feel very confident at this stage of my career. With the number of cold calls I receive, it feels good and very encouraging.
Wow, that is really, really impressive. Like you said, how you only got 5 hours of sleep for a year, and then you also ended up with no weekends and a 16-hour day work schedule. That is insane.
Yeah, it gave me a rapid pace of learning during that time, but I advise if one can balance better, that's good for health.
Yeah, I'm a very big enthusiast of relax and work.
Yes.
Okay, my next question is what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours, and do you have any tips to succeed?
Sure. Based on my experience, I'll offer a couple of tips. The first one, stay on top of our technology changes. What's new in the industry that's going to last for next 3 to 5 years. For example, today if you look at the cloud is going to last for next 3 to 5 years, and SDE roles as of now is very demanding, especially in the Bay Area, and strong coding skills that are needed for SDE, and a product management. Perhaps AI machine learning is in a lot of hype these days. You may have heard about the chat GPTs, how it's going to change the world now. To keep up with the technology changes, I ended up taking a lot of certifications. I was having a bachelor's in the past, but I enrolled myself for a master's program at SCU. So you can do similar things. The second tip that I can give, when you notice you hit a wall within the company, explore opportunities within that firm or outside. The third tip is pay attention to building professional connections. And fourth, put a consistent effort to improve your soft skill.
Yeah, with the whole chat GPT, uprising, there's been so many like cool things to do. Like you can write code over there, so many things. And I've explored with it and it's so much fun.
Yes.
Like I basically write anything with it and it just writes everything for me. Like I don't really have to do any work. So as a student, that feels so great.
Especially, you can build, right? You can make a chat GPT more smarter, or include some of the artificial intelligence and machine learning into applications that you build.
Yeah, so that's why it's so cool. Okay, so my next question is, what is the common myth about your profession that you want to debunk?
Sure. People think that you just focus on work, especially being an engineer in a individual contributor role. So you think that you just focus on your work and somehow magically your career progression is going to happen. I would say you would have to pay attention to a lot more factors at workplace. An exception to that statement could be sometimes you are in a right place at the right time. If an organization is growing rapidly, everything might fall in place for you, though.
Yeah, a career progression isn't always linear. There's going to be a lot of stagnant places. And I feel like a lot of people have this common myth that, everything in any industry is going to be like a clear progression, but that's simply not true.
Totally agree with you on that.
Okay. And if you could step into my shoes or your younger self, what would you have asked yourself that I may have not?
Based on the questions you asked so far, and the industry changes that are happening now, I would have asked how best you can prepare for a job at this point, especially if you're coming out of an undergrad or a grad programs. What's that you can do to land a job?
I see. So, like the resources and etc.
Yes. See, for the current environment, there's a lot of restructuring companies are doing. So for candidates who are coming out of the undergrad or grad programs, landing in their first job might be a tough thing. I've seen people opting for further studies. Say, for example, if they completed the undergrad, they're opting for the grad, or if they're completing grad program, then PhD program, perhaps to better prepare themselves for the future years.
Yeah.
Or another example could be, if you're interested in, say, cloud platform companies, take some certifications. If you're not enrolling for full 2-year, 4-year programs, then at least to gain the certifications in the area that you want to land job.
Yeah. As someone who's a very big cloud enthusiast, of just a couple of years, taking certifications is very fun, but it's also a little bit hard. So, yeah. Okay. So my next question actually is a great segue for the previous one. So it's, what are the best resources/books that have helped you find your career path?
A lot of resources that you can utilize. I'll give you a bunch of them. First, when you are working, on the job learning is the best one, right? You learn a lot being hands-on. The second one is internal or external training resources the company might offer. To give you an example, AWS is so good at onboarding technical talent. They give 3 full months for you to prepare before you get to speak with customers. So they have a lot of structured programs. Those are available. In addition to that one, you can also have training sites like a Udemy, where you get a lot of technical content. In addition to that one, technical blogs or technical forums like a Reddit or a Quora. When you get stuck, somebody may have seen the same problem. You can just ask the question and you can see the answers people are posting there. And certifications, of course. And the third one that I can refer is a mentor. Having a mentor at a workplace, not just one mentor, perhaps a couple of them to give you career advice. The fourth one is YouTube. You have a lot of content out there. And then fifth one is you learn from your peers, especially the product companies host a lot of lunch and learn sessions or the brown bag sessions, we call them sometimes. So these are the 5 resources that I can offer.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually like a gazillion different types of resources online, but some of the most noteworthy ones, as you said, are Udemy and YouTube, and also blogs, and of course, certifications. But if you're not that particular into technological learning, then there's always people out there, like on your job or some other mentors. So thank you for sharing those tips.
You're welcome.
All right. And what do you think is the vital factor that shaped your career? What was your life before learning it, and what was your life after learning it?
Well, you have a two-part question there. Let me answer step by step. For one, in the technical industry that we are in, we definitely have to have interest for learn and be curious. I mentioned earlier, we need to stay on top of our current technology trends and catch up to it. To deliver results, sometimes when you work hard, your peers do notice that kind of automatically helps gain the trust of your peers. And the third one is build professional relations. This is very, very important, especially when you transition from individual contributor to management roles. Anytime that you want to make a change within the company or outside, your professional connections that you make in the past will help. And then to answer your second part of the question, what was the life like before I implemented these and after? You will notice that if you don't follow these kind of principles, you will see a stagnant career versus you notice that you make progress in the career by applying some of these.
Yeah, because being curious is one of the biggest things to have like an advantage in the technological and also in the STEM industry as well, because technology is ever evolving. With ChatGPT, that has completely changed the industry.
Yeah.
And just being curious and wanting to learn more is one of the best things you can do to shape your career in life. And also having a great network, that's also very true. All right, since we have a little bit of time left, my next question is, what's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career path?
That's a good question. I touched on this one answering prior questions, but again, touching on how important professional connections are for career, especially when you are in management roles. Uh, for example, initially I didn't pay that much of attention. I was focusing on gaining technical depth in the roles that I have attempted. But over recent 10 years, I've been paying a lot of attention in building this network. I do teach as an adjunct at SCU, and I did volunteer at a UIUC for grad students. I helped more than 40 people gain AWS certifications. With that, I got closer to students who took roles at AWS and several other FANG companies. This kind of helps in enhancing your network. So I would advise not just volunteering aspect of it, or build professional connections within the company as well.
Yes, listeners, listen up. Being very proactive in building your relationships and connections is very important when you begin your career path. Okay, and how do you continue to learn in order to stay on top of things within your role?
Especially in the AWS management roles, are more people management roles. And having come from the technical background, I always make sure I find opportunities, even in the management role, that I stay focused, learning something new. For example, in my current role, I make sure I attend developer hackathons. That's an opportunity for me to be very hands-on. And then second one, when a customer escalations happen, if those escalations fall in the area of a depth that interests me, then I make sure, I help the customer out. with a solution. And the third one is I recently joined a startup as an advisor. That gives me an opportunity to be very hands-on as well. I just gave it 2, 3 examples, but you can always find an opportunity where you can stay hands-on and closer to technology.
Yes. Those are very, very, very interesting. So thank you so much for sharing with your way that you continue learning through management roles. And also, my last question is, do you have any quotes or mottos that you would love to follow and share with us?
Sure. A couple quotes that I can give you. When I look back at my career and I want to be proud of the work that I have done and be proud that I tried everything sincerely. This quote is from John Stewart. The second one I can think of, opportunities don't happen, you create them. This is from Chris Grosser.
Those are very, very cool quotes. I will definitely stick to them because the second one, especially, I think that's very interesting because you have to create the opportunities. You have to be proactive in your learning. You know, you are you, and nobody else is going to shape your future but yourself. So, thank you so much, Nitu, for being here today. Would you give any last few words to the audience?
Sure. I'm excited for Gen Z girls as they show much of enthusiasm and energy to learn about the tech industry very early on. Look at you. You're not even in the college and you're taking interest to meet leaders from the industry so that you can learn from them. Happy to help you any way I can. Stay in touch, Arna.
Thank you so much. Thus, that concludes episode 26. If you want to know more about how I relate to these amazing topics, then stay tuned for upcoming episodes. A free way to support this show is by leaving it a 5-star rating and a review on the player you're listening to. Let me know what you enjoy about this podcast, as it's a chance to tell me what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it too. Once again, thank you for finding me, and I hope we stay in touch with each other. Dito, you're listening to Arna Sahu, the host of Arna's News. Toodles!